Hey y'all, Ashton Mitchell here. I have some great friends with me today. You know, I post all the educational content about all things mortgage and finance. Well, I figured my followers and my agents and my friends could use some additional help with their finances. So I pulled in my great partner, Sara Blake, who is a life insurance and financial specialist, and my other friend, Kaylah Cranor, who is my go-to home insurance coverage girl. She's amazing, and I'll let them introduce themselves, and then we'll get into today's content. Sara, you want to go first?
Hey guys, Sara Blake with Blake Insurance and Financial Group. I am your independent life insurance broker and financial strategist. I am here to be a resource for you guys for building wealth and protecting what matters most.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sara, for being here. Kaylah, what about you?
And I am Kaylah Cranor. I'm an independent agent with Goosehead Insurance. We specialize in all things property and casualty. I've been in the business for about 2 years now. Goosehead operates as an independent brokerage. So in simple terms, just means that we're not tied to any one carrier. So we have a good bit of options and happy to be here.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I love that about Kaylah because she always shops for my clients' home insurance. And because she has those multiple channels, 9 times out of 10, she's coming in less than all the other carriers. So, kind of like me on the mortgage side, where we can shop through about 25 plus different lenders on the rates, she can do the same thing with the insurance. Okay, ladies, let's jump into it. So, Sara, I want to know about you. Tell me your story. What made you passionate about life insurance and helping families build wealth? How did you get into this?
I guess I'll start with personal experience. I guess my mom had a personal experience. She lost her first husband and he owned a business. And he had a small life insurance policy to pay off their house, but left her with a significant amount of debt. Hundreds and thousands of dollars worth of debt after her grieving husband or her husband passed away, and a grieving wife had to pick herself up and figure out how to get out of this significant amount of debt and also go on about life. So I think it's a mix of that and also just seeing the disconnect in some pieces of the financial world. Service has gone away. Service is no longer present. In most cases, there are still people who are doing it well out there, but we have to bring back the service-oriented mentality of every single client that walks through the door is unique in their own way. It's custom. It's not a one-size-fits-all solution. And so that's where we come in, being a family-owned and operated business. We want to keep it unique. We want to keep it custom to the client.
I love that. So it was definitely a personal story that made you want to help others. And I'm assuming that when her husband passed, it was not expected.
Oh, no. No, he went fishing in their pond on their property and had a brain aneurysm and fell into the pond. And it just wrecked her world. It really wrecked her world. She had a young child at the time. And so for her, it was just, she told me that she spent days on the couch trying to figure out what she was going to do, how she was going to do this. And the fact that that woman is still here today and thriving, and that she got through that, is an inspiration to me that will carry me through for the rest of my career.
Absolutely. That totally just gave me goosebumps. Wow. Wow. Life is very unexpected. Yeah. All right, Kaylah, what about you? What got you into insurance? What makes you passionate about it? Tell me a little bit about that side.
Yeah. So I will be completely honest and say that I had absolutely no idea that I was going to be going into insurance, which I think a lot of insurance agents don't. I don't think many kids are growing up and say, I want to be an insurance agent when I get older. But I met Matt, my agency owner, my senior year of college, and going into the working world, I knew that I wanted to do something where I could interact with people on a regular basis. I love people. I love meeting new people and talking with people, but I also wanted to be engaged in the home buying side. I think that there's just something so beautiful about a person who's buying their first house coming to you and putting so much trust into you and their insurance agents and their realtors and other people that kind of have a play in the process. And I knew that I wanted to be a part of that. Um, what I love about my job the most is in an otherwise, like Sara said, not so service oriented industry, which, elephant in the room. We know the gig with insurance. I really enjoy being that friendly voice on the phone that can speak with them and, really communicate to them that I do care about them a lot, because I do. As cliche as it might sound, I love talking with people and explaining things to them in a way that helps them feel more comfortable, especially when it's a first home buyer situation. It just creates an overall better experience for everybody involved in it. helps me feel very fulfilled knowing that I can be a slight differentiating factor in a sea of mean
Absolutely.
agents. We'll cut that part out, but it's the truth. Because
Absolutely.
insurance is mean.
No, I mean, there's some cutthroat agents in the, insurance side, the mortgage side, your side. I think that's why we do it differently. And there's a lot of men in our industry who do it as well as we do. But for women, I think we provide a different level of service that is more educational based and kind of, hey, what's your whole goal picture? Let's look at everything together and make sure we're getting you there. So that's definitely something that comes into play.
Lack of push.
Yeah, for
Yes.
sure.
We don't push, right? We don't force something on someone that they're not ready for. Because timing really is everything. Everybody has to come to their time where they're like, hey, yep, I'm ready for this. I see the value in this. And women are really good about, like you said, educating, but bringing the service that I think in all of our industries combined, it's more about quantity over quality. When it comes to the people, the quality of service, it's like burn and churn. And I think women just want to be able to connect. They want to have that connection. They want to have that relationship with you. And that it's filled me more than
Absolutely.
probably I filled my clients.
Absolutely. Sarah, tell me what's something people don't expect when they sit down and talk finance with you?
How easy it is, how judgment free it feels. Most people walk into our office thinking that, oh my gosh, I don't have enough money saved. I don't have my stuff together. I don't feel like they're not comfortable. They immediately come in with their walls up. And once we are breaking it down for them and talking through and saying, hey, we're a judgment free resource. Let's just evaluate your picture as is and let's see what we can do to help. Almost every single time, I'll say almost every single time the client leaves just feeling this weight off of their shoulders, that peace of mind. We build it up in our head that we're coming into a room where we shouldn't be comfortable. And I think that's probably the biggest surprise, but that's how I know that we're doing our job the right way, is when someone leaves feeling that way.
It's similar to the mortgage side. People have a fear of judgment because we're looking at their most intricate details of their lives. But one thing I think we can both tell people is you're not normal. This is so normal. Don't beat yourself up. I was reading an article yesterday that said only 6.68% of American households make over $200,000. Like, you don't have to be a millionaire to go to Sarah. You don't have to be a millionaire to come to me or Kayla. Like, we help everybody from if you're $40,000 a year to if you're $5 million a year.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And it's never too late. Like,
I love that.
I come across so many people who think that, hey, I'm at a certain age point and I've waited too long. The average person, last time I checked, doesn't start saving until 31 years old. They
Wow.
don't start saving towards their future. And so I have people in their 50s and 60s that look at me and they're like, Sarah, I've missed it. It's too late. It's not. We have people walking in our door every day asking, hey, how do I know that I know that I may not feel like I've started sooner. We never say that, but I should probably started sooner, but I'm ready now.
Yeah.
And the key is you're ready now and we can get started and we can help you figure out where to go from here. It
Absolutely.
doesn't have to be scary.
That makes sense. If the average person starts saving at 31, the average first-time home buyer nowadays is 38 years old. You know, the oldest home buyer I've ever helped was 72. Yes, 72 bought her first home. So it is never too late. Ever, ever, ever. Awesome. Most people think life insurance is just a death benefit. What's a mind-blowing way you can help somebody understand life insurance as a way to build wealth while they're still alive?
Life insurance not only helps you fill in some of the critical injury or long-term care gaps. Some life insurance policies have extra living benefits where you can access a portion of your policy while you're still living. That alone helps you prevent from pulling from your retirement accounts, draining your emergency fund. There's having another pot of money you can pull from when the tragic happens, but you still want to stay alive. You want to give yourself the opportunity to beat cancer or to, having another severe illness. Having those living benefits is huge. And so that, and again, helps you build wealth. But I will also say there is a lot of back and forth in our industry about buy term, invest the difference, whole life insurance is bad. it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. But I will say there are awesome products on the marketplace that will help you balance out your risk in the market and build a legacy, build long-term wealth. It's just like the market, compound interest over time. The sooner you start, the smaller you start, or the sooner you start, it can be small, but it compounds over a long period of time. So just start somewhere. There are kids that are walking in our door. They're saying, hey, my parents started this for me when I was 2 years old or 7 years old, and now look with the balance. And it's like, yeah, it happens. Yeah. Working with a broker helps make sure that you stay on track, someone like me, but you can build wealth. It's not a one-size-fits-all solution.
I love that. I love that. So you feel there's a benefit to term and whole life, and there's a right time to convert it if you start it as term.
Absolutely. Term is great for the young family who is trying to survive, whose budget is stretched, or they have a lot of children and they need a lot of life insurance because they have a lot of mouths to feed. Term has its place in the industry because it's there for people, anybody who needs it. But the beauty of buying term insurance is now you are insured. You don't have to worry about losing your insurability. While the permanent products, there's different ones out there, but permanent products have their place in the market to really help you build cash value. And as long as it's managed properly by the right broker, they will advise you and help you build a legacy there.
Yeah, absolutely. That reminds me of some of our conversations we've had about my husband. So my husband had a heart attack at just 43 years old. Not what we were expecting, right? Well, now he can't get life insurance term, and if he can, it's super expensive. But luckily, we started early with a term policy. So I just got a notification in the mail the other day saying, hey, you should probably convert this to whole. And he doesn't have to get the medical exam anymore. He still qualifies. So we're definitely going to take advantage of that.
A huge deal. We push it off because it's an extra bill to pay, but it is so important to lock in your insurability because your health can change at any time.
Well, someone wise once told me, always pay yourself first. So my personal financial goal, I pay God first, and then I pay myself second, and that is always the first. So Sarah, why do you think so many people put off getting life insurance? And what do you feel like the cost of waiting is?
So many people, from my experience, people put it off because we like to take risks, right, as humans. And honestly, our budget is being stretched so far nowadays. I think it's that way anyways, but our budget, especially now, is being stretched so far. And it's hard to prioritize what is most important when you're getting pulled in so many different directions. So I see it most in, hey, I have very little wiggle room in my budget, and I want to go to the movies with my family, or I want to go have a date night with my husband, and I don't want to intrude on that by any means, but you don't know what you don't know. Most of the people that are really serious about getting life insurance early have a personal experience that they've had with a family member, or they've had a personal experience with themselves, and it is something where it's like, hey, I am getting this because I know the importance of it.
On a personal perspective, I think getting it earlier is better because you're younger, it's cheaper. Go ahead and budget that in when you start living your life alone, especially when you buy your first home. I mean, that's a key time, or when you have your first baby. Like, I got my first life insurance policy right after we bought our first home and right after I got pregnant with my oldest. So definitely.
Yeah, the cheaper the better. It goes a long way. And the longer the term, the more your premium stays fixed. So if it's a 30-year, it's going to stay fixed for the most part within that 30-year period, but then you're going to see a big jump. So that's where the conversations every single year, you should be meeting with someone every year that you trust, saying, hey, is there any of this that I should consider converting to permanent for when my insurance premiums do jump up significantly in the near future, to prepare? That's part of the preparing for retirement, preparing for healthcare expenses.
That makes complete sense. Caring for my mother-in-law after my father-in-law passed has made me very aware of the expenses of assisted living and medical. Definitely.
And it only keeps increasing.
I have a question, actually. I feel like prior to me getting into insurance, it was a concern that I had, and I've actually heard some horror stories from family members of mine who had term, a 30-year term, and they didn't really touch base with their financial managers and life insurance agents the way that you guys so highly recommend to do. But when that 30-year term was up, they didn't really know what to do. They didn't know what the process looked like. are you only able to convert it to whole, or are you able to renew on any kind of like year-to-year basis? How are premiums affected? Or is your health a factor?
Great question. Yes. So you have, if it's a 30-year term, in most cases, it can vary by the insurance company. You have a fixed amount of time. So it's usually 20 years. If in a 30-year term to convert, some are part of it to whole, or for a 20-year, it can be 10 to 12, somewhere within that range. So you don't have all the way up until the end of the term. If you wait until the end of the term, at that point, the term ends and you're reshopping the marketplace based on your current health and your current age. And that is where the premiums are probably going to triple or more.
Wow.
Because at that point, you're older, you're closer to having more potential health issues. It's a risk analysis for the company, the life insurance company, because they're a business too.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
All right, Kayla, I have some questions I'm curious about.
Okay.
Okay, so I know you said earlier you like explaining it. What I love most about working with you is I know you're not just quoting policies, you're protecting my clients. So what keeps you fired up about what you do? Because I think all of our industries can be pretty brutal and a real grind, and it can affect you mentally.
Yeah.
How do you keep fired up about what you do?
I would probably say just simply the sense of relief that you can feel when you're speaking with some of these clients. It's especially first-time homebuyers. You'll hear me talk about first-time homebuyers a lot because they're my favorite. It's also the smoothest process. But a lot of times by the time they get to me, they are extremely overwhelmed. Sometimes they're just signing documents. They're just moving right along. And insurance is just another one of those boxes that they have to check. So whenever I'm speaking with them and we're able to take the time to just kind of break things down and help them realize that it really is as simple as it is, and you can hear that sense of relief coming through the phone, and they know that they're just one step closer to getting into that house and moving on with the process. It's just a really rewarding feeling to have, I would say. That's probably what keeps me going. I think that answered your question properly.
Definitely.
And I will say, if this is okay, I just went through that process with Kayla, and shopping for home insurance has never been so easy. You are so wonderful in the fact that you, just like you, Ashton, both of you do this. You keep me informed every step of the process, and you follow up. That's a huge thing because life gets busy. It's not that I'm ignoring you. It's not that, we all experience it, but you follow up and you're like, hey, I'm here to support you. What questions do you have? What do you, here's where we are in the process. That piece of the service is just not there in majority of our industry. And I love that for both of you.
Well, and I've learned too over the years, when people aren't being communicated with, they start to panic behind the scenes. They start to worry. Is everything going okay? Is something going wrong? Am I not going to get approved? I haven't heard back. So even if things are fine, touch pointing with your clients is so crucial to run a successful business these days.
Yeah. When I'm speaking with clients of mine that have been referred to me, I always do just kind of little small check-ins with them. Like, how's everything been going with Ashton? How's everything going with so-and-so realtor? Just to kind of gauge how people conduct their process. Because I like to have, a well-rounded understanding of that as well. And communication is positive feedback that I always get back from your end. It's always, oh yes, Ashton and I talk this often, and she lets me know anytime anything changes. So to highlight that in a service-oriented industry, I think is important.
Absolutely.
And you definitely possess that, and I appreciate that about you.
Thank you. Well, that's why I work with you ladies, because I value that very highly for everybody that I refer. So thank y'all for being you. Okay, Kayla, tell me, home insurance is required for mortgages, obviously. But what do people not understand that's actually covered?
I have a funny answer for that.
Okay.
Peace of mind is what I'll say. I'll definitely say peace of mind is covered as somebody who has semi-high anxiety, or I guess sees all possibilities of things that could go wrong. That's a big one. But to answer...
Are you a final destination kind of person? You're like thinking every single thing out, like, oh my goodness.
I wouldn't say final destination, more like constantly ready to react if anything happens. Sometimes I'll hear a noise at the house and I'll immediately get the spotlight. And Greer's like, what are you doing? You know, like, you don't need to do all that. And I was like, you say that until it goes south, and I'll be the one prepared, and you'll be the one laying on the couch waiting for them to come in.
So, crazy events. Did you see the meteor
I
and how it
did.
went? A fragment of the meteor went through somebody's roof in Georgia.
I never really followed up on what that actually was, but I saw the video and my brain was like, meh,
Nope.
it's got
A whole
well, no,
new
I'm not
story.
worrying.
So, would meteors be covered under weather? Hail?
That is a little bit of a slippery slope. So insurance covers falling objects. Okay.
Okay.
Now, there are certain falling objects like airplanes
Yes.
that would fall under somebody else's jurisdiction, if you will.
Ah.
But to answer your question in short, yes, technically so. I don't know how common that would be. I hope that's not a common question I start to receive in the near future.
I hope not.
I really hope not. But yes, to answer your question, yes, they are.
Awesome. Awesome.
And Kayla, just so you know, every time we have a storm come through, because we have a lot of pine trees in our yard, our new yard, every time I see them swaying, I'm like, I don't want to have to call Kayla tonight.
No, I don't want to get that call.
Yep.
If you ever do, though, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., you call me.
Yep.
Like, because
And I'm
into the house.
We know some
No,
good tree
thank you.
people too. So, if you guys need a tree referral, I got you.
Also, while we're on the topic of it,
Yeah.
I need to cross-reference that meteor thing and make sure that it's covered.
Yes, absolutely.
Almost positive falling objects is covered, but something like a meteor is a little drastic and be considered, you know, an act of just like craziness that wouldn't necessarily. I'm almost positive, but I do want to confirm that for you.
I don't think you're going to get any clients calling you saying, "Hey, a meteor just hit."
Yeah, I really hope
Hopefully.
not. If
Hopefully.
that starts to happen, we need to worry.
Okay, talk to me about what's the biggest mistake people make when getting their home insurance.
I would say definitely focusing on price above anything else.
Yeah.
The economy that we're all living in right now kind of naturally puts us in this position of trying to cut back costs as much as we can. And I'm definitely always there to support that and, you know, offer options and solutions to kind of help meet their needs. But making cost the primary focus, I think, is definitely one of the largest mistakes that I see. Insurance is, like you said, something that's required for mortgages. So a lot of people sometimes feel backed into a corner and they forget the importance of it and what it's there for. I think that definitely in the last few years, as premiums and rates have changed a lot, people have kind of shifted their perspective on it. It is an asset protector, and similar to you and life insurance in a different font. So you're spending all of this time and all of this money to buy this property for you and your family to live in, and then to not properly insure it is doing yourself a disservice by not making sure you have everything in line to protect yourself and the investment you made.
Right.
So I would say definitely honing in on price. Now, if anybody watching this is more curious about things that maybe would be okay to kind of trim back on to help save a little bit of money, and things that I would highly recommend not trimming back on, deductibles is one of those easier changes you can make to save a larger portion of money. So something a lot of people don't know is if you're ever in a position where you have to file a claim and you might not have $1,000 on hand to pay your deductible, the insurance company will just take it off the top of what they're paying out. So you're protected regardless. You don't have to have that money on hand.
I did not know that.
A lot of people don't. A lot of people don't know that.
That's great for first-time home buyers to know.
Yeah. I've had a few people kind of increase deductibles to $2,500 to help save some money, and they were worried. You know, can I change it? Yes, you can change it at any time, but you know, here's the kicker.
Absolutely. Now, people who are price conscious, I've seen you bundle before and quote their autos too. And then if they're bundling, they're saving on their auto insurance and their home insurance.
Yeah.
So is that something you recommend?
Definitely. So insurance companies, they view multi-line clients, so having more than just one product in the office, as something that increases retention. And because of that, they see you having that business in their office as a benefit. So of course they give you discounts for it.
Right.
Working as an independent agent and, you know, doing home and auto with different carriers, I'm in a little bit of a better position in terms of bundling discounts. So when we quote home insurance, we look at we have, 40 plus carriers, but at any given time, there's 4 that
Sure.
are kind of operating up here while everybody else is down here. So I'll look at those 4 and then we can quote out auto separately, and those home insurance carriers will still give a bundling discount just for having the auto in the agency. It doesn't have to actually be with them.
That makes sense.
So it definitely puts me in a position to kind of have an upper hand. But to answer your question in simple terms, yes, there's definitely benefit.
There's a benefit. Absolutely. Okay. One other question before we get into some scenarios. Give me the lowdown. This is something that we run across all the time on our side with insurance. Replacement cost versus market value. Why does it matter?
Sure. So it matters a lot. And this is something that I run into a lot. Sometimes replacement cost, and we'll get into what that means in a minute, but sometimes replacement cost comes back much higher than market value. Sometimes it comes back much lower than market value. Sometimes it's right on point. And that's simply because market value takes into account the cost of land, the land that the home is sitting on, location, and then of course the cost of the house itself. And then replacement cost is just taking into consideration what it would cost to rebuild the structure. So the cost of walls, flooring, roof, counters, cabinets, and other aspects of your home. So
to replicate what they've got if it was completely taken away.
Correct. If there was a total loss, to return that home to similar quality as before. When we're quoting home insurance, we run what's known as a replacement cost estimation. We're putting in factors about the house, square footage, construction materials, different things like that. And based on that information, the carrier will calculate what they think that number is.
Okay.
In the past, when I've had that number come back higher than market value, I've explained to clients, it could be a few reasons. Maybe you're getting the house at a great deal. Maybe the carrier just simply thinks that it would cost a little more to rebuild that home. But getting down to the basics of replacement cost versus market value. Market value just takes into considerations other factors.
Definitely. So would you say replacement cost is more important than market value?
When looking at it from an insurance aspect, definitely.
Yeah.
So market value has absolutely nothing to do with what it might cost to rebuild your house. And we all know, I was just doing a presentation on this the other day, the cost of materials and labor is increasing dramatically for a lot of different reasons.
Hold on. Start that section over.
No worries. What did I even say?
A lot of in this.
Hello.
You too. Do you remember what she was saying?
Oh, just talking about this the other day, and what was it? Oh yeah, just cost of materials and labor are going up.
So cost of materials and labor are going up.
Yeah, and I don't think that hold on, let me actually start back over. What did I say?
You asked, so you would say market value is actually more important.
Okay, yes.
But people don't realize that the market value versus the actual cost to rebuild isn't the same.
Right. Okay. There we go. Perfect. So from an insurance aspect, I would definitely say that market value is more important. Just kidding. From an insurance aspect, I would definitely say that replacement cost is more important than market value, just because the cost of materials and labor is going up. And while it's not necessarily reflected in the market price of certain homes, it's definitely going to be reflected if there's ever a total loss. And it's time to rebuild your home back to what it was before.
That makes sense. That makes complete sense. Okay, let's jump into some scenario questions. So say I'm buying my first home in South Carolina. What should I be asking my insurance agent before choosing a policy?
That's a good question. There's so many different answers to that question. I would keep it simple and just ask them, if this was your home, how would you write it?
I love that.
What would you put on this if this were your house? Is there anything on here that you think might not be necessary if they're price sensitive? I always say that when it comes to insurance, it's not about the carrier, but it's about the agent who writes it.
That's exactly right.
If the policy is written correctly, there should absolutely be no reason that you're not properly protected.
Absolutely. I think it's really important for consumers to also know, like, you're the professional in that industry. Sarah's the professional in her industry. I'm the professional in my industry. And so I always ask clients, if I were in your position, do you want to know what I would do?
Right.
And 9 times out of 10, they're like, absolutely, like, we're relying on you for this. And so that's where you kind of get to do the education and the guidance to make sure that they're getting the benefit of working with a professional because you're giving them the value that we're here for.
Definitely.
Absolutely. All right. Have you ever had a client think they were covered and then find out the hard way they weren't?
Yes.
Oh.
And it sadly and interestingly enough is common with a specific carrier. But I had somebody come to me last year that had a massive water loss, and water backup coverage is one of those coverages that I strongly advocate for. But they had a massive water loss, and insurance policies have different types of water coverage on them based on kind of what caused it and just different factors. And $25,000 worth of damage to their house, and a very, very small percentage, like under 10,000, was actually covered by insurance. So they were out of pocket for the rest. And by the time I was speaking with them, their kitchen and other areas of their house were tarped off and unusable with no foreseeable function in the future. You know,
It's not just out of pocket costs for the rent for the fix at that point. It's also you can't cook. Loss changes the entire dynamic of the way your family functions.
Absolutely. Well, I've personally seen you talk about water backup coverage with my clients. So that's a huge important thing that people definitely need to know about.
Yeah, a lot of people assume certain things are just covered, which they should be when you're working with, you know, a good agent. But no, water is one of those ones I'm very passionate about.
Definitely, definitely. Sarah, you know, let's say I'm 35. I'm married, 3 kids, self-employed, make good money, but I don't know where to start with protecting my family financially. What would you say step 1 and step 2 are?
Well, step one is make sure your income is protected. You know, you talked about insuring your property. You know, it takes income to be able to fund your lifestyle, to be able to afford your home in most cases, to be able to go to the grocery store and, you know, buy toys or whatever it is that feeds your lifestyle. Protect your income first. If it really is a budget thing for you, or do you just want your foot in the door, term insurance, as we talked about, is a great starting point. But if not, at least be putting a little money aside every single month into some sort of permanent product or some type of retirement account. Term insurance is definitely step number one. If you can swing it, disability insurance is another one. I cannot tell you the amount of people that I've spoken with that they were perfectly healthy one day. And, you know, most of the time your work will give you an option, but having a individual disability income policy is an extra layer of protection when it comes to protecting your income, because those disability, like a disability can happen. Your body can change at any point. An accident can happen at any point. And if especially if you're self-employed, if you're a business owner,
Well,
you need it.
what about stay-at-home moms? You know, I think I've heard a lot of people say, well, she doesn't work, I don't need any insurance. But my gosh, if the single mom, I'm not the single mom, the stay-at-home mom is doing everything for the kids that aren't in school yet, or even if they are after school, that's a huge cost if she gets disabled or, God forbid, passes.
This is something that I feel super passionate about. So it gets me all fired up. I actually saw a video recently that I shared with several people in my network, and it was talking about the salaries of everything a stay-at-home mom does. A chef, a launderer, an Uber driver, all of the things. And the salary that they came up with was like $250,000 a year. Rather than that person, a nanny, like all of when you really start thinking about all of the things a stay-at-home mom does for no income, that does not mean that they don't bring value to the home. So honestly, the stay-at-home mom, the primary income earner, the income earner is very important, but the stay-at-home mom is someone I'm advocating for constantly, because you don't know what you don't know. You know, they just don't understand. They think that yes, life insurance is related to income replacement and debt payoff, but in this case, what would it cost to replace this person who's not bringing income into the home, but they're bringing services, they're bringing a source of lifestyle and protection for your family that you would have to pay to replace? So it's huge. At stay-at-home moms, I've seen several scenarios where sometimes the stay-at-home mom has the bigger the bigger life insurance policy in some cases, but I would definitely they need to be treated equal. If that's because they don't bring income through the door, doesn't mean they're not so incredibly valuable.
Well, when we first purchased my first life insurance policy, I was a stay-at-home mom at the time, and we purchased a good bit.
Yeah.
Because we were young, we were healthy, and we had 3 young children. It was a big value for sure. Okay, let's bust some myths. Sarah, what is one life insurance myth you want to bust?
That they can't afford it.
Okay.
In reality, I've seen this since I first jumped into the industry, and it's very, very true. A life insurance policy that covers your family can cost as little as the cost of a pizza.
Wow.
That you just get take out at a restaurant.
Delivery or carry out?
Either one, but definitely pick up, definitely carry out. I mean, it really is affordable. But the key is you got to get it when you're healthy.
Yes.
That's the big thing there.
Let's say you've got a 25-year-old, seemingly healthy. Is there anything that would make their cost go up that they could avoid?
Yeah. What medications you use, and that can vary. It varies greatly. There are many medications that most people are on these days, so it's not as intimidating as you probably think. Your health at the time, any recent diagnoses, but sometimes there are still policies that we can write even for someone that has had a recent diagnosis. But one of the big ones is tobacco and nicotine use. That is something that can really adjust your rates. That doesn't mean that you're not able to be insured, but it can definitely fluctuate the cost.
That's really good to know.
Those are 3 questions that I ask whenever I am, finding out what their needs are and what they, what type of policy we're going to be shopping for. Those are really important questions to know, because then I can be upfront with them and let them know what the potential hurdles or feedback could be relating to those responses.
Definitely. Okay, tell me this. What's a mistake people make when they're buying a policy online?
There are so many different riders out there, and so let me take a step back. There are so many different carriers in the marketplace, just like Kaylah experiences as well. There are so many different carriers, there are so many different riders, and there's different types of policies, and it's so hard to understand which one is the right fit for your family at the time, because you're not. It's something I do every single day. Right. I trust the professionals that I don't know anything about to tell me what the right thing to do is. And so the people that I work with that go and buy online, they're just getting a basic term policy. Sometimes they're overpaying for it, but they're not getting any of the added benefits that maybe their family could have needed or that they would have wanted, that would have helped create some peace of mind.
Right.
Some of those things are the living benefits. For some people, it's return of premium policies.
Yeah.
Sometimes they just want the basic income coverage.
Right.
There's so many different, the waiver of premium, where if you become totally disabled, it waives your premium for the rest of your policy, so it stays in effect. That's something you pay for extra, but some people say, yes, I want that. There's different riders. There's so many different factors. So the best way to find out is to pick up the phone and call someone. And independent brokers really have the power here.
Right.
Because they can price shop. They can, that doesn't mean that we can touch every single carrier in the U.S., but we have more knowledge surrounding multiple different companies and multiple different products, and it's more likely to hit the nail on the head on what you're really looking for.
Absolutely.
If you don't know it.
That's great. Thank you. Okay. Let's see. All right, Kaylah, some myth busters.
Okay.
What's one insurance myth you hear way too often?
That insurance carriers are looking for any reason not to pay out a claim. And this just kind of ties back to the point that I made before, which is the importance of the person that you're working with to insure your assets. So just making sure that coverage is written properly and they have your best interest at heart. But I hear that all the time, especially with new home buyers, younger individuals.
Definitely.
I hear that a lot.
Awesome. All right, so let's talk a personal scenario, because Kaylah was telling me that you helped her with an IUL. What is an IUL?
Very common question. I get it very often. It's confusing. There's whole life, and then there's term, and then there's the IUL, and then there's universal life and variable. There's so many different types. So the indexed universal life is essentially a life insurance policy where you still have guarantees in the policy, but it's not a fixed growth rate. So a portion of your gains are invested in the market. So you're still participating in gains of the market, but it's based on crediting strategy. So if the market goes up 20%, maybe you're getting gains of 14, 13%, somewhere around there. So you're still participating in the gains, but 0 is your hero. You can never have losses in the policy. So for clients that are maxing out other accounts, it is a fantastic solution to be able to put to be able to fund this policy, or even a great starter opportunity to build some cash value over time. The beautiful thing about some of these policies, and not all policies are created equal, but some of them can actually help you supplement your income in retirement. Beautiful. So you turn a light switch on and you start pulling income. And the best part is some of these policies, you never run out of money. It's guaranteed. You will get money for the rest of your life. And sometimes those will also be passed on to your spouse.
And I love that I heard you say, you're maxing out other things. So that's one thing I love about working with you, is because not only life insurance, but your family covers all of it. Like for us personally, all of my financial questions go to you. I need to come talk to you about maxing out a 401k and what to do now. So we'll have those conversations later. Maybe that can be another video we'll do. Thank you, ladies, for being here. I want you to wrap this up, and I want you to tell our viewers why they should work with you, what makes you different, and give your contact information so they can reach out.
Well, I will start by saying I love to be a go-to resource, just being a connector for you, people that you need. Obviously, we want to be a one-stop shop resource for any life insurance needs, financial planning, or Medicare. That's really our bread and butter. We want to do holistic income planning. But if you just need a handyman, or if you just need a house cleaner, or you need someone else in your circle, I want to be a resource for you in whatever way I can. And I really believe that that is what makes me different from other people on the industry, because I just want to be a part of your story.
Yeah.
I want to be that cheerleader for you on the sidelines. And if I can be a resource for your family, great.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just need somebody, or you just need someone to talk to when you had a bad day. I'll be that light for you.
I love that.
I want to be able to show my heart in whatever I do. And if I ever stop showing my heart, then I need to change industries.
Absolutely. You very much align with my motto, heart, hustle, and high standards, completely in everything you do. And I just can't say enough good things about Sara. So if you do need life insurance, if you need financial planning, if you even need health insurance strategies, Blake Financial can cover that. Sara, give them your information so they know how to reach out to you. What's the best way?
Yep. So the easiest way to reach our office, if you're an email person, is info@theblakegroupsc.com. But if you'd like, you can call me directly, 828-455-0282. That's my personal cell. Feel free to give me a call at any time. I tell Kayla all the time, call me, text me, any questions that you need. I can't always promise I'll answer, but if I do, I'll call you right back.
Absolutely. That's what I say too. If you don't get me, just text me. I promise I'll get back to you. Okay. So Kayla, tell us, what would you want our viewers to know about you and why they should work with you?
Yeah. So I pride myself on the level of service that I provide my clients, and also just having access to as many carriers as I do. Sara mentioned earlier that service is something that's lacking in our world. And, I'm just always sure to take the time to really get to know the person that I'm on the phone with and make sure that they know that they're in good hands. Something that I do that's a little different from other agents is every year your policy is going to renew.
Yeah.
I always go ahead and set a task ahead of the time just to take a look at that renewal and make sure there's not anything better that I could do for that individual on a financial level. So I always just take the time to make sure that I'm doing my due diligence to my clients and giving them the best options that I have, and just being as communicative as possible in a world where communication seems to be lacking.
Absolutely. So if somebody wants to contact you to get some quotes on their home, auto, boat, motorcycle, all the things insurance, how can they contact you?
I would probably say just give me a quick call or shoot me a text. I would give you my email address, but it's a little long.
Yeah. What's your cell?
If you wanted to call me or text me, you could reach me at 803-882-5070. And sometimes texting does work better. If I'm ever not able to answer, I will always text you back.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, ladies, so much for being here with me today. I think we provided a lot of value to our viewers over the whole insurance spectrum. Hopefully we helped break it down into easy language. But most importantly, for our viewers, we're here as your resource. These ladies, they have heart, hustle, and high standards. And truly, you're not just a number. You are a person to us, and we care about you. And so if you need good coverage with anything financial, insurance, or mortgage, we would love to be your go-to.